Want to have sustainable growth for Dollarama? Want to expand 30 to 40 stores each year and overcome all the challenges? We're here to answer all of your questions. Greetings everyone, we're from Group 3 and we will be presenting our final project. Here is our team consisting of myself Zaki, Ryan, Gani, Salsa, Iren, and Samantha. And we will be discussing these following topics from company profile through results and conclusion.
Okay, I will explain about the company profile. Dollarama Incorporation is a recognized Canadian value retailer with well over 1,000 locations. Dollarama was founded by third-generation retailer and Canadian entrepreneur named Larry Rossi, and it all started with one store in Matane, Quebec. Growing presence in other Canadian provinces in 2001 until 2003 dramatically expands its presence in Ontario through the acquisition of 60 locations following a retail chain bankruptcy. Then Dollarama continues its expansion into Western Canada, opening its first store in Alberta and Saskatchewan in 2005, and launch of second growth platform in Latin America in complement to Canadian growth strategy. In August of 2019, Dollarama acquires 50.1 interest in Latin America value retailer Dollar City following a 6 years commercial partnership.
These are the history of Dollarama in time base, where it founded in 1910 as a general merchandise store in Montreal, and in 2009, it could achieve 1.2 billion in revenue and 158 million in EBITDA. For its business model, it sells products such as party supplies, greeting cards, gift wrap, stationery, and others with a low price point. And the strategy that Dollarama has implemented is they rather lease a space rather than buy, and to have a better flexibility. And also they develop a high prices good to be sold for $1, etc. We identify our main problems using SEQ, which I will elaborate this section as follows. For the situation, they own their store, they own their own branches instead of franchising it. And their logistic is a simple approach with only 4 warehouses and 1 distribution center. And their objective is to expand for at least opening 30 to 40 new stores per year. And currently, they doing a program where they sold stuff with higher price point. And for the complications, are their store labor cost the most to G&A expenses, and $1 price point is not capable anymore to keep up with the inflation and the minimum labor wage that keep rising, which lead us to one main question: can Dollarama sustain its sales and still maintain its products' quality and consistency of supply with the aim to expand their store branches?
Next on, we will be formulating the input variable by looking into the external key factors involving Dollarama using pastel analysis. From this, Dollarama obtained a total of 29 external factors from the political, economy, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors. And to have a more comprehensive analysis of the Dollarama's position in the market, we also use Porter's 5 forces framework. From this, we obtain that Dollarama has a relatively strong position in terms of these listed 4 aspects, but has a medium level of threat from the bargaining power of buyers, as resulted from Dollarama being a single price point business.
We will be moving on to the output variables, which serve as the company's indicator goals. The 3 output variables chosen for this model are assets or resource that can be used to contribute value, EBITDA, which serves to measure the firm operating performance yearly, and operating profit margin, which is the percentage of the firm's income to the total revenue.
Moving on to the impact and uncertainty metrics, we focus on the right side box, which is from government regulation to the global pandemic, because we choose that because it has high business impact, high uncertainty.
After creating our impact matrix, the next step is to develop the alternate development paths by seeing the effects of 3 potential scenarios to 7 input variables. We chose these variables because they give measurable impacts that can be modeled using our tools. Inflation rate was chosen because it will impact our cost of sales, while economic growth and competitor growth were chosen because of its impacts towards our overall sales. Automation will affect our general, administrative, and store operating expenses, while export and import law and exchange rate will affect our losses from exchanges, and people's average retained earnings will affect both our general, administrative, and store operating expenses as well as our sales.
For scenario 0, business runs as usual, and there are no change or in extreme events following this stage, so there are no external impact to this business, so it's still 0%. And for the timeline for scenario 0, there is no event occur for the business in the last 10 years from 2011 until 2002, so it's still also 0%.
The first scenario is titled The Lasting Effect of a Depression. This is about what do Dollarama has to face during the time where the world is still recovering from the recession in 2008. This event resulted on an increase on sales and foreign exchange loss or gain, but also a rise in the interest rate and SG&A cost. Next. In this scenario, the cost of sales was significantly increasing until 2014. The sales were significantly escalating, reaching an increase of 7% in 2015. The SG&A cost was also slowly increasing, and because the economy is still in a fragile state, the government will cap the interest rate near zero. And last, for the foreign exchange loss or gain, this will also slowly increasing.
The second scenario is where we develop an economic situation where the country experiences high economic growth, hence boosting the company into high gear. For the trend of each component business impact, you can see in the bottom right of the slide, in which green indicates profit while red row indicates loss. Business impact data is explained further in this slide, which is visualized in the form of table from the year of 2011 up to 2022.
For the third scenario, we predict there will be a rapid expansion in online retails across the board, which will cause a massive paradigm shift in customer behavior and cause people to shop more through the internet. Of course, as Dollarama is focusing mainly on establishing physical stores, this will massively decrease our sales. As you can see in the bottom right corner of the screen, almost all of the business impacts of the scenario is negative and will affect us massively, including a percentage increase of almost 17%. Here's the visualization of the scenarios where it impacts the business variables.
So these are the visualization of the scenarios where it impacted the input variable, consists of cost of sales, SG&A, interest rate, foreign exchange loss or gain. And the result of each scenarios to 3 output variables consists of assets, EBITDA, and operating profit margin as follows.
Next, we will get into the strategy we propose. For the first strategy, we want to make Dollarama the market leader through supply chain optimization, adding a drive-through shopping system, which will be a breakthrough in the retail industry. And last is adding fresh food and perishable items as it has a short shelf life. All this will result in a significantly decreasing cost of sales. A skyrocketing purchase of property and equipment will also last for the first 3 years because of the major investment in drive-through shopping setting. And last is also an increase on sales.
By expanding Dollarama up to 50 stores, and hopefully the firm could capture the market better and increase overall sales. Next, an in-house production, which is able to decrease Dollarama's cost of sales. And lastly, sourcing from developed countries. This can benefit Dollarama by taking advantage of cheaper currencies. The impact of strategy will result in the rise in sales and purchase of property, decrease in cost of sales, and gain in foreign exchange ranging from 5 to 12%.
We proceed to the third strategy, where Dollarama developing a digital transformation, where it utilizing a CRM and it could increase the operational cost and also the sales. And the impact is the increase of amortization of intangible assets by 1% until 13%. The next one is the digital marketing campaign. We believe by promoting the Dollarama products using a digital platform could also increase the sales, and it impact the sales by -4% until 13%, and also the increase of cost of sales by -1.1% until 4.8%. And for the third one is the database integration, where it could decrease the SG&A costs. It could decrease for -5% until 5%. And we break down the impact for each year, as you can see on the screen.
So now we come to the modeling results. Here, we use the multi-criteria decision-making, or MCDM, where we put 40% weight for assets, 35% for EBITDA, and 25% for operating profit margin. Since Dollarama's main goal is to expand 30 to 40 stores each year, and assets as well as EBITDA reflects it the best. We also use the expected value for each scenario based on our own judgment, where scenario 0 is 10%, scenario 1 is 25%, scenario 2 is 30%, and scenario 3 is 35%.
So for the usual business scenario, the appropriate strategy chosen is strategy 1, which is optimizing the supply chain and integrating the drive-thru facility to the Dollarama franchise. We achieve the result by comparing the values of key output between each scenario. The chart displays strategy 2 has higher EBITDA, however, strategy 1 produces higher both the operating profit margin and also assets.
Moving on to the modeling result for scenario 1, which compares between each strategy, we can see from the table above that in strategy 0 and strategy 3, it's still under 10 million, while strategy 2 and strategy 3 is on 14 million for the assets. So, but the highest one is for strategy 1. So we choose strategy 1 because of the highest, and the assets is 14.9 and EBITDA is 2.2. And operating profit margin is 51.09.
In this slide, strategy 1, again, is chosen as the ideal scenario to be applied to the second scenario. We believe that enhancing Dollarama supply chain system and enforcing drive-thru system will result in a higher assets and operating profit margin, as we can see in this slide. Scenario 2 does produce higher EBITDA with an amount of 2.5 billion Canadian dollar. However, the difference is not too noticeable.
Moving on to analyzing the effectiveness of our strategy 3, of our strategies of scenario 3, we can see that strategy 2 gives us the most valuable score based on our weighted output variables as elaborated on before, with the sales increase from our marketing campaign and our expansions giving a big boost to our EBITDA. However, strategy 1 also has good results, producing more valuable assets and a higher operating profit margin.
Here is our modeling results for one of our output variable, the assets. As we can see, strategy 1 consistently produces a high value of asset at every scenario with an expected value of 11.9 billion Canadian dollars. This was due to the fact that strategy 1 consistently expands and increases in property and equipment investments through implementation of the drive-thru concept.
As for the modeling results on our EBITDA, this time, strategy 2 gave us the most optimal results with a total of $1.8 billion value. This is because our in-house manufacturing and outsourcing from smaller countries resulted in a significant boost in our net income through a decrease in cost of sales, as well as an increase in sales from our massive expansions.
And last, for modeling result, if we're looking into the operating profit margin, the strategy that best perform will also be the first strategy, resulting in a 46.9% expected value. This is due to the supply chain optimization development proposed in strategy 1, making the cost of sales very competitive.
To conclude, after remodeling the output for each strategies for each scenarios, we have picked the best strategy for each scenarios as seen on the screen. And we can also explicate that strategy 1 is applicable to most of the scenarios, with the result of the financial model of each scenarios as you can see on the screen.
And here is our final recommendation. As we can see from the graph, strategy 1 has the highest score, which are received from both weighted score of output variables and the expected value of each scenarios. In summary, both strategy 1 and strategy 2 are effective, where strategy 2 always produces high EBITDA and strategy 1 is great on delivering high amount of assets and profit margin. So we recommend Dollarama to improve the supply chain system, implementing drive-through system, and introducing fresh and perishable items in limited quantity. So that's all our group's presentation. Hopefully our analysis could help Dollarama to grow sustainably and achieve its goals. And lastly, here are our work divisions for each person. Thank you so much for listening and goodbye.